let's get into the area where we're going to talk about how you do it, okay? So we talked about what is lean, the history of it, what's the 5 steps on how to move it forward. So let's get into the detail of actually how that could happen and how you can leave this room knowing how to apply it. Okay, so how to identify value. So the value is determined by the customer. And I underline a customer because I want to reiterate this point over and over because that's a key concept. Because I did see when I was at the university, customer is not a normal term for many people. So I think that point, it'd be the faculty member, it could be your staff member, or it could be even a student. So that could be your customer. So the first thing is determining what is the value determined by the customer, who wants the right service at the right time with the right capabilities and at the right price. Now, we don't necessarily look in the university structure at price all the time, but there are always costs in what we do. Okay, and costs may not be transparent, but however, you can kind of feel what those costs are when you look at your budget. And many of you, I imagine, are managing your budget, or you're looking at GLs, you're doing GL reconciliation, or whatever, or your account managers. There's a lot of different things that you're doing where you're seeing like some of the cost, okay? So lean organizations work on making their process right by eliminating the waste. So making sure they're doing the right thing at the right time. Okay. So when you're thinking about how can I identify value for the customer, there's a lot of questions. And by the way, this PowerPoint will be available for everyone, so you can have it. There's a lot of questions that you want to answer when you're trying to identify value, right? So the first thing you want to think about, what is the problem that's impacting my customer? What is the problem? Okay? So many times you'll hear many symptoms like, oh, wow, okay, I have a problem because it's taking forever to get my contract through contract services. Like, they're taking forever to get my contract. I feel like they're not giving me status, haven't been assigned to a buyer. I don't see the status in Koali. What's the issue? I don't know what's going on. Like, what is the problem? What's going on? But primarily, you want to think about, okay, what's happening? The issue may be there's not visibility into contract services workload. They may have like 1,000 transactions they're working on, and there's only 10 of them. How can they process your transaction quickly? The problem may be visibility and status to really understand how quickly that yield can come through those 10 people. Okay? So it's really kind of understanding what the problem is. The symptoms will always show up, but you got to ask why. Like, why? Why is this happening? Why? And think about it from that perspective. Because if you understand the value we're creating, the value is that I just get my contract through. My contract signed, I can go forth and do my procurement, do my business activities or wherever it is. That may be the value, but however, what is the real problem there? You want to ask those questions. The next thing you want to think about is, what is a team actually doing to take action on that? Okay? So have we reached out, performed inquiry with contract services? Hey, are you guys under a massive workload right now? What are you guys doing? Well, not what are you doing, but, you know, is there something, or what's the expected time that we're going to get something back? And they can say, okay, well, we're working on getting it done, you know, within the next couple of weeks. Okay. And then you can say, okay, I can temper myself and say, okay, can you do it like maybe in the next 5 days, or what's that process with? Okay. So what actions do you take? Now, I won't go through all of these questions, but they'll be available for you guys to think about. But the purpose of this is really thinking about the value and what questions you want to answer yourself or within your team to make sure you identify what are you looking for, what is the need, what is the want, so you can focus your attention when you're creating lean.